Wednesday. We are live. We are live. Let me just do a bit of testing here. Make sure we've got some audio coming through here, which we do. I can see that we have. Right, I can mute that. Lovely. Got my notes up. Got a bunch of people here waiting and ready to learn how to play bar chords. Eyup FretHeads, it is Wednesday, the 7th of May, 2025. Can you believe it? Can you believe that it is already there? January, February, March, April, May. 5th month. 5 months in already. Crikey. Welcome to Wednesday's guitar lessons from the book. I am flying solo tonight. Mrs. Ricky and Miss Ricky and other Miss Ricky, my other daughter, they've gone to see Mary Poppins at the theatre. And I am here flying solo, but I'll manage. I'll manage. Mrs. Ricky will catch up later on. That's what she said she's going to do. Anyhow, so this is what we're doing today, guys. We're doing bar chords are easy. We're going to talk about bar chords. If you want to put that in, can somebody put this in the chat for me, and I'll just highlight it. It is lesson 37, page 43. Lesson 37, page 43 in the book. Yes. In the book. So that's what we're looking at there. Now, you're saying to yourself, the book? What the heck's the book? It's Phil here, because he's the one who usually says that. No, Patrick. No. I've had to fend for myself. I've got my Yorkshire tea here. Look, it says Yorkshire tea on it as well. So hang on, come on my face, and then it'll focus. Will it focus? Yorkshire tea, born and bred, strong in the arm, thick in the head. So this is perfect because I've made it. Yes, Lawrence, thank you very much. So that is what I just said there. Lesson 37, page 43. That's where we are today. Can I pin that one to there? Can I pin that one? I don't know if I can pin that. Can I pin that? Well, it's not letting me do that. But there you go. So everybody who wants to know what that is in the book. The book, which is the gift that keeps on giving as far as I'm concerned, because it's got so many good things in it. Oh, I haven't done my oh, not that one. I don't want that one. What I want is this one here, and I need this one here. Well, let's do the countdown. You know, we've got to do the countdown. Just to make sure that we've got this all going. Let's just have a look at that. Let's just get rid of that there. Because what I'm going to do, hopefully, can I just check something here, guys? Just check all my controls. Look at this. Does this work? Oh, no, that's the wrong window. But we won't want that one. But there we go. You can... You're seeing behind the kimono there, and you don't want to be doing that. Nobody wants to be seeing behind the kimono. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this. She says. The book. If you haven't got the book, it's full of 80 lessons. 80 lessons in there, all focusing on different aspects of learning the guitar. The idea with all these lessons in here is they connect and give you a good understanding of the guitar, a good solid knowledge of it. And then what I do is I come on here and I do these lessons every Wednesday. I take a lesson from the book, maybe connect it to another lesson from the book. And then what we do is we build it out, and it's like a web of guitar knowledge. Shauna says, lol, countdown for the waffle. It's the waffleometer. It is the waffleometer. We've put it on there just for the fun of it. So let's crack on with this, yeah. So the thing is that there's the book. Now the thing is, the book's available on Amazon. It's available on Lulu in spiral bound if you like that one. And if you want a digital version, then what you can do is you can join the Fretboard Fraternity and you can buy it in the learning section. And I think it's actually reduced in price in there as well. But if you email, say, Ricky, give me a discount code for the book in the store, I will do. Because I'm a big softie like that. That's the way it goes. So, where are we? So we've got that going there. So we've got the Fretboard Fraternity. Join the Fretboard Fraternity. It's cool. It's like just a nice, safe place to hang out, online. Hang on, sup of this tea. Oh, grand is that one. I think I burnt my mouth, though, with first sup of it. But there you go. Nothing is ever simple. And if you actually want access to all my past PDFs for my lessons here on YouTube, then I think that goes right back to 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Then we've got PDF Club. What's PDF Club? Well, that's how you find out what is in PDF Club. PDF Club, you get access to all my PDFs that I've ever created and any future PDFs that I'm going to be creating. And actually, PDF Club is the only place you can get the PDFs from Wednesday's guitar class. Yeah, so that's for all those members there. And there's a few other things that go on in there as well. Like did you know there's an always on discount for any of my courses in there? Yes, there is. There's an always on. You don't have to wait for any fake Black Friday or anything else like that. It's just in there. So when I launch something, then you get a discount. I sucked that a bit too fast, I think, I think. But there you go. So that's all the spiel over with there. Right, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today. So really what we're looking at is bar chords, and I'm going to go through a whole slew of tips and tricks to help you and to kind of counter, actually, the regular way of learning how to play bar chords. I have a completely different way of coming at it, because what I did was once... It's like I thought, why isn't this doing it? Well, do you know, it came from having stumpy sausages, for fingers here. And I don't have a wide stretch. So I thought, well, how could I widen my stretch? So the thing is, what I could do is can I do something with this stretch? And so I picked up from a car boot sale a book, Grey's Anatomy, not the Doctor TV series. Grey's Anatomy, the actual surgical book, and it had diagrams of the hand, and I thought, oh, this is why. So I'm going to talk about that tonight so that you understand why your hands won't do as they're told, but then how to work around that and make guitar chords work for your hands. Yes, so make bar chords work. And this is the thing. I thought, I read up on this, and it seemed to me that it was all about the power of the middle finger. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of power in the middle finger. And the thing was that I realised that there was a different way to come at bar chords. And I tried it out. And I remember being absolutely stunned the first time I tried it out in a live guitar class. I was teaching a guitar class at my music school. There were 12 people in the room. And I thought, right, okay, let's do the dreaded F chord, the bar chord. And I was like, oh, well, I'll try this new idea that I've got. And I tried it. And 11 out of the 12 people in that class got the bar chord straight away. And I almost pooped myself, because I thought, crikey, what am I going to teach them now? But luckily, I always have a contingency. I always overplan my lessons. So there you go. So I have got plenty of stuff for you today, and it's all about this. And we're going to be looking at, how you develop that finger strength and leverage, getting rid of those buzzing and muted strings, finger placement, thumb position, and also, we can look at moving in between chords as well. So there's a lot to encompass in this idea of getting to grips with bar chords, guys. So really, Sean has the power. So the power of the middle finger there. So, okay, so that's what today's lesson is going to be all about. Let's have a look at the chat and let's do roll call. We've got Christopher Capagna, hello there. Analog Kid is in the chat. Dem Ravens, it's joy time, welcome. Welcome as well, Dem. Glad to have you here. Winston Moy is here in Dallas. Araman 3048 in Switzerland. Bill Travis is in the chat. Even in the snowbanks, the shade are melted now. All right, well, that's good. Jerry Linde in Sweden. Patrick Darby Sheehan is in the chat as well. Roger Smith is in the chat. Major Pentatonic. Harry Croker from Wolves. There we go. Bob P. Missing. Hello, Ricky, Mrs. and Miss Ricky. No, they're not here today. They're actually gone to see Mary Poppins. It's the West End production on tour, so they weren't going to miss that. Me, if you were tuned in on Saturday, then you will have heard my thing about my own kind of reckoning with musicals. I'm not a fan, let's just say. So I'm okay to, miss out on that. Wayne Johnson, greetings from Cowtown. Thunder Ace, my OG. Dick Plump, hello, welcome. Let's learn the bar chords, indeed. Phantoms in the chat, good evening. Vicky DeMeo in Kentucky. Jeff Honor, Shauna, obviously Shauna's here. We knew Shauna would be here. Good to see you in the chat there. Telefunken, Richard Grissom, Jeremiah Miraz, hopefully Wednesday at 11 a.m. on the dot, guitar lesson in the chamber. That's what we want. Yes, brilliant. 11 a.m. That's good. So JB is in Poland. Dark Gent, good day, mates. Martha Minton, hi. This hour is always my favourite hour of the week. Oh, thank you very much, Martha. That's lovely. Tim C, Eyup Ricky. Alan Mackey, Eyup from East Tennessee. St. Louis. Oh, Martha's from St. Louis. Mo. Is that Mo? Montana? Is that Montana? Am I right? Or, I don't know if there's a few. Probably am I saying it wrong? Is it St. Louis? So Onno Van Leersum, we've got Jason Somerville. Eyup Spiral Bound arrived. Oh yeah, let's have a round of applause for that. Yes, there's been a few photos in the fretboard fraternity this week of New Guitar Day celebrations that people have been having. I think maybe it's that significant is a New Guitar Day that maybe you should have cake with it and a good cup of tea. Maybe that should be like a ritual that we do. We honour that, with a new guitar. It's something to be celebrated, to be honest. But also, a spiral bound book is also to be celebrated as well. Thank you very much, Jason, for supporting my work by buying the book. Thank you. It means a lot. Alan Mackey. Hit the like. Yes, guys, hit the like. Hit that wallop the like button, please. Yeah, give it a wallop and get this out there into algorithm. Ron Carrillo is in the chat. Quagmire, not Quagmire. Mike Allen, it's great to see you. I'm wearing new glasses which confirm my observation. You look even more marvellous. So thank you very much. I'll take that all day long. I'm at that age and I just, sometimes when you look at photos of yourself when you're a teenager and you go, who's that? and then you look at yourself when you're brushing your teeth in the morning and you go, who's that? Yeah, we're there. So I'll take any compliments whatsoever. Almoens, howdy. RC model capers. Let's evening. Who else is in here? Malcolm Dengate. We have Richard Shields. Hey up, Rich. How you doing? Lawrence O. Thank you very much for posting that. I appreciate that. Who else have we got in the chat here? David Fisher, Ryan YT. We've got Mark Carter from Birmingham, Alabama. Chuck Birdsong. Oh, I love that. That sounds such a great name. Chuck Birdsong. I love it. Billy Joe here. We've got that going on. Patrick says, I have been studying harmonic stress. Okay, don't get stressed about music, learning your music. It's all fun. Should all be fun. Should always be fun. So let's have a look. Who else have we got in here? Alma Wentz, Michael Gregg, Mary Courier. I missed a few there. Let's have a look. I'd go with the spiral bound, yes, because it's nice and convenient. Shauna says, can you add PDFs to PDF Club? Yes, I can. and I will be doing. So anything that I generate today, I'm going to maybe try some software as well. I have something going on here as well, but I've got to switch things around. We'll have a little look. Ken Guthrow, hello from Newmarket. Hello, Ken. Maria. She always gets a name sung to her. How nice. I like that. You know, do you think we should just do it tomorrow to somebody? You know, just somebody random. If you find out the name, just say the name and sing it at them. I wonder what kind of reaction you'd get. I mean, it's like just for a bit of fun and just see what happens. You know, just see what happens. Report back next week and tell me what happened. That would be interesting. Relaxing meditation, Eyup. Claude Capo Destra is in the chat. We also have Carter Hutchinson. Oh, he's made it. He's made it to his favourite class. Dot Gent is in the chat. Who else? Let's have a look. I think I understand the reason of hand restriction as I have trigger thumb. Oh, right. Okay, so it could be... Right, trigger thumb is... yeah, I was looking at this a couple of weeks ago. I'd love to have a think, see what comes back to me with trigger thumb, because there is an opposite to trigger thumb as well. And it's all about the tendons and the flexors. So Scott Simmons, Ricky, me be late, how are you and Mrs. Ricky? Mrs. Ricky isn't here. Let's have a look. Inga Knoll, thank you very much for being here. Waiting desperately for my mug before the tariffs are rising prices. I've ordered the Circle of Thirds mug myself as well. If you didn't know, guys, I've created a Circle of Thirds mug. Now let me just have a little look at this, because I think I might have it up here. I might not. Let's have a look. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, I do have it up here. I'll just show you this beautifully handsome mug that I've created. Yeah, and this is the Circle of Thirds mug. Let me just share this with you on screen. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Circle of Thirds mug there. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful thing. Look at it. And it's got instructions on it. Yeah, so it's got instructions. Like you could. The idea that I had was, and Mrs. Ricky, she humoured me because I got some whiteboard markers and I filled in key signatures. And then what I did was I wrote the letters for the key signatures with the sharps on and the flats on in the squircles there. And then, you know, I could just sit there and I could look and I could see what's going on. You can see it's got everything in there. It tells you the chords, it tells you the modes, it tells you the distance between each of those there for the Circle of Thirds. So it's a Circle of Thirds. It's a lesson mug. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you can do that these days. How cool is that? You know, I think it's amazing anyhow. So look, but that's it. That's the Circle of Thirds mug. I've just ordered two of them. I've ordered the 15 ounce and the 11 ounce. See what they come back like. See if I enjoy drinking tea for them, because that's actually probably the most pertinent test that we need to do with that. So yeah, I will do an unboxing. I think that's the one. Mark McKeever. Mark, lovely to see you in here, mate. Hope you're well. I saw your pictures of you in hospital. Look after yourself there, buddy. Donald Price as well in Vancouver. We're going down the list again. Oh, MO is Missouri. Right, okay, now I know. Matthew Miles. Yeah, I made it to a live session drying out in Manhattan. If it's your first session, let us know, because my timer has run out. My timer's run out, guys. But Mrs. Ricky isn't here to lambast me for it. Not that she does. MN is Minnesota. All right, okay. MN is Montana. MT... Right, you see, this is the thing. We don't know. I'm not too sure. 5 minutes. Srenang. Hey, up for Waka. Good to have you here. Like and subscribe, guys. Yeah, definitely. Give the like button a wallop. Rusty Highlander is in the chat. Stevie Pinhead. Neil Fradenberg. I think that's how you say it. We've got Nancy Parsons. Hey, nice to see you in the chat, Nancy. Mary BG from Idaho. We've got Three Dogs Brewery. I haven't seen you for a while there, buddy. Will Shalechens from Antwerp. Willie. I'm probably butchered that, but I'm very sorry about that. Red Walrus is in the chat as well. We've got, who else? Who else have we got in here? We've got somebody new in here. We've got Graham Penfold, who is late again. And yeah, so my timer's run out. We've got Schrodinger's guitarist here and not here simultaneously. And Tony Waters is in the chat. He's a newbie. Oh, look, welcome. Thank you for being. Look, can you see how the text does that? Yeah, it says face fuchsia wide eyes. It doesn't carry the emojis over into the Ecamm software that I'm using here. But welcome. Thank you very much for coming today. Oh, Randy Holder's made it. And Dale Sam and me as well. Wonderful. We have just about hit. Oh, TJ Anderson coming in last minute, and Irene as well. Welcome to you guys. Let's crack on with this lesson. Let's get started. Are you ready to start? If you're ready to crack on with the lesson, then make sure you wallop the like, because there is 113 people in here and only 60 likes. Come on, guys. Let me have a sup of my tea, because this waffle is definitely drying me out. But I tell you something, the timer does make me very aware of the of how long the waffle lasts. It doesn't last as long, does it, guys? You know what I mean? It used to last 40 minutes sometimes before I've done that. When I get on a waffle roll, you know, we don't want that. So like I say to you, the thing about bar chords, guys, just in the chat here, what I want you to do is just like type in the things, type in the struggles that you have with bar chords. Just type them in there. I know I've already mentioned them, but if you type it in the chat, yeah, then what's good is somebody else might be out there in the chat and they might be thinking, you know, oh, I'm not going to write that because nobody else might be suffering from the same thing that I do when it comes to bar chords, you know. But if somebody puts it in the chat and you go, oh, maybe a few more people do, and you'll find that it's really, really common for people, you know, if you're a beginner or you're a novice, or you know, some people have been playing a while and they still struggle with bar chords, because it's all about technique, you know. So this is the thing. This is what we're looking at today, guys. So what are the things that you struggle with your bar chords? So let's have a look. Rusty Highlander, major chords, D and E and A and third, sharp B as the third and the fourth. I don't, I'm not, G string minor chords, always dead notes. David Fisher says old. Buzzing, arthritic pointer finger, hurts to bar. Right, okay, that's it. Buzzing, dead notes, struggle with any bar chord that isn't E and A shapes. That's a fair point. Killing the strings, the obvious one. Wonky sound on the B string, old fingers. I get what you were doing there, David. Anything beyond the E and A forms. Okay, I learned using bar chords, so don't have the problem. Well, there you go. That's the thing. That's okay, but I'm sure there's something that I can put in here that'll make it a bit easier, hopefully. Jeff Honor has seen all the above. Love them because they give you lots of freedom to play any chord. Absolutely. My problem is that some strings have dead notes. Remembering the shapes, Ron. Well, the thing is, we're going to look at this. I'm just going to have to blow my nose, guys. Oh, and my B flat bar chord, I'm a nightmare. Again, I'm assuming that's the A shape as well, when three fingers need to stretch to a second fret away. Well, we'll look at that. Can't change chords fast enough. Do you see all these problems there, guys? Does this sound like something that, you know, they're all very much the same sort of thing. Sequence to put on the fingers. That's the key to it there, Claude. Not enough fingers, says Randy. Yeah, so look, you're confirming all of this, right? So this is all the things that you can see there that are the problems. And these are the most common problems. But what I want to do is I want to get into this and make it a lot easier. So, and got some exercises for you as well, and got some stretches as well. So, but let me just say, guys, there is almost a kind of, if you can't do this thing, then you should feel shame. Yeah, when you're learning something, there are some things that you do, and if you can't do them, then it's almost like, yeah, but I can't do that, so I'm not good. You know, and what I'm saying to you is that's hokum, is that really, because you do not. I know this lesson's all about bar chords, but let me just preface the whole thing tonight with you don't need to play bar chords if you don't have to. Yes, the thing is serving the song. It's always about serving the song. Yes, if it sounds good, it's good. If it works, if it supports the vocalist, be that yourself or somebody else, yes, it doesn't matter. Bar chords, they're great, and obviously we want them in our bag of tricks because they do certain things that open chords can't do. But we can cheat around those. Now, I might bob in and out of cheating tonight. I might talk about that. But the thing is, you've just got to watch out for it, because there are the chord police out there that say, oh, well, you know, you're not playing, you know, in that chord, that song by, you know, the Everly Brothers, he plays a G chord there and he doesn't leave out the E string. It doesn't matter, yeah? It depends on how much of a purist you really are. And I think, you know, unless you've got a super disciplined ear and you know you can pinpoint the sound of a missing string, yeah, it doesn't matter, guys. So I'm just saying to you, you know, tackle bar chords with some sympathy for yourself. Yes, you need to have a little bit of slack for your learning in this. Yes, yeah, you just gotta create that space where you can go, do you know what? These might be tricky. They might be challenging, but hopefully I can take away some of those things tonight. Now, what we want to do is a couple of things, really, is a couple of tips, actually. And what I would say is what is essentially, hang on. Where is it? I haven't got it here. I haven't got it. Oh, where is it? It's over there. Yeah, so what it is it's a capo. Yeah, that's what a bar chord is, guys. So what we do is when we look at his guitar, let me just show you my guitar here. So look at this. So it's this bit here. Yeah. Now this is what you've got to do is you've got to frame the whole idea of a bar chord as being the same as this plastic or bone bit that you have in the neck of your guitar, the head nut, because that's all it is. You're using a finger to act as a head nut, but the head nut is movable, much like a capo. Now this is the wrong capo because my other capo's over there. Yeah, but this is a funky capo. It doesn't go all the way across. It should do, really. I should have one that does that all the way across. But really, what we want to do is we want to just get that finger there. Now, when we put the bar on, essentially what it does is it negates anything behind it. This part of the guitar becomes useless unless you can find some musical reasoning for that noise behind there. So really, it's just about blocking that off and becoming a head nut. That's the whole point of bar chords, okay? So really, it enables us to change and move our shapes around. And the thing is, if you think about it, if we look at the 5 cowboy chords that we have, yes, and I'll play through them slowly. We've got a C chord, yeah. We've got an A chord. We've got a G chord. We've got an E chord, and we've got a D chord. Now, by rights, you should be able to play any of those chords with a bar, okay? But the 2 most common shapes that we end up using are the E shape and the A shape, because those guys convert into minor shapes super easy, okay? And they turn into sevenths and minor sevenths and major sevenths and all sorts of wonderful sounds like that. Okay, so this is the thing, and like somebody was saying, that yes, barring, and then you should be able to use, there's another shape there. What I'm on here is I'm on an E flat and I'm playing a C shape there. So this is just demonstrating that these bar chords, what they basically do is they transpose. Trans means move, pose means position. They move the shapes and therefore they change the notes underneath in the chord. Funnily enough, the intervals stay the same. Hang on, let me just go grab this other guitar. I forgot I might need this tonight. This one is in a funky tuning. We've got it in some dadgad or some dad F sharp add. So what we're gonna do is we can use this here. Now, let me just say as well, a top tip. Let's look at a top tip. Yeah, the action and the thickness of the strings on a guitar. This acoustic here, yeah, this is my Dreadnought Sigma. This guy has got 12s on. This is 12 gauge strings. Yes, not 12 gauge shotgun. It's 12 gauge strings. So those strings are quite thick. On this electric, yeah, I've got, and those are phosphor bronze as well, by the way. On this electric, yeah, I've got nickel steel, and these are 9s. So these strings are significantly thinner, which means that the action on an electric guitar is very often very much lower towards the working part of the frets. Yeah, so the strings are a lot closer to the fret wires, which means it's easier to press down. On an acoustic, generally, it's a little bit thicker. I'm walloping my guitars here. So it's a little bit thicker here, yeah? So two ways of looking at it, I think, with bar chords. If you want to build strength and stamina, get an acoustic, yes? But if you want to start playing and you're struggling and you're fed up of struggling, yeah, go electric. You can always, like, once you've got it nailed on electric, you'll find it's very much easier to just jump back on the acoustic. It'll take a little bit of work to get the muscles strong enough, but your hands will already be trained to know where they're supposed to go, especially with the method I'm going to show you, my 3-step process for bar chords, yes? Let's have a look. Where are we at? So, 3 fingers, I need assistant quickly, puts on the capo when the bar chord comes around. Yeah, you could do that. Chord Police, isn't that a trick? Yeah, it could be a Cheap Trick song. Yes, so really, that's what I want you to think about there. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to struggle. There's kind of this thing, this macho, I don't know if you've experienced it, but there's this macho bravado. Stevie Ray Vaughan played like 18s or 16s or whatever, the thickest strings, piano wire on his guitar. Therefore, anybody who does less than that, you're a substandard guitarist. It isn't. It's nonsense. If you look at it, I know that Tony Iommi, for instance, and Yngwie Malmsteen play 8 gauge. That's thinner than these ones here. Those are really, really, really thin strings. So there's no need to struggle with that. So that's something that you might want to look at. Now, worth knowing is, the distance that string is from the fret wires is critical for speed of pressing down, because the thing is, it means the closer the string is, the faster it is to press down and the faster it is to release. But it also means it's going to put less tension on your hand as well. It's going to be strenuous if you've got a high action. Now, I will say, and do you know what? I'll show you the guitar in question. This is my Martin. Martin what? It's a DCX 1E. When I got this, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. The action was super high on it, and you couldn't play a thing on it. I got a setup on it. I got a setup, and it made all the difference. And I just said to my luthier friend, I said, dude, can you make it so that I can shred on it? Because I was doing those kinds of things. And he said, all right, do you want it that low? I said, yeah, do it that low. And he set it really low, and it was the same action high as an electric. How about that? So the thing is, and I really, really enjoyed that. The only thing about acoustics is I think they're a bit more temperamental towards heat, so the neck will warp and it will slightly shift, you know, in the concave and convex nature of the neck there. So you might feel that it gets a bit different if you're playing it in different environments. Yes, so that's a thing. But yeah, so there's pros and cons. There are pros and cons between using an acoustic with 12s or an electric with 9s. It's the basic thing is to avoid frustration, yeah, and make progress. Yes, if you're finding that you are not making progress, then that's when this comes in, you know, this idea of maybe do that. Now another thing, and this is why I had to get the capo, is because when we learn bar chords, it's usually from necessity of playing the F chord. They call it the F chord for a reason. Yeah, they call it an F chord for a reason. Now the thing is, that is here. Yeah, this is where the F chord is, right? Let me zoom in on this, guys, and take a sup of my tea because I'm very yappy today. You know, so what we've got is we've got this down here. Now, if you just use the finger of your picking hand and you just press on the strings at the 12th fret and look at the tension that you have to press down there, and you find it's really, really easy, okay? And you do it as you go further down the neck, keep going down the neck, and then you get to the 1st fret and you'll feel the tension all of a sudden. It becomes really tense down here. And then what's going to happen is when you learn the F chord, your finger, this bar idea, this new idea, is right over that tension spot there. Hey up, Sean. So we've got that there. So look, all those notes there are going to be harder to press down. Patrick, this is why your B flat, I'm assuming it's this one, yeah, is hard to press down because of this finger being on the 1st fret. So that's where all the tension is, okay? And that makes sense because that's where the string's coming out, you know, so it's popping out over that head nut. So how do we counter that? Let's look at this little trick that you can do. So you don't like that there, okay? What you could do is to practice your bar chords. Let's do this. So I'm going to put it up here, and I'm going to try it here where the tension is less. Now you do create some tension by putting the capo on, yeah, but then it means, okay, I can play this here. And it's a lot closer to my body as well. And that's the thing, you know, see, if the chord is all the way out there, look at how far away my hand is from my body. Whereas if I learn to play it here, it feels great. Now, if you're a beginner, chances are you're not going to be playing anything fancy schmancy. You're still going to be playing cowboy chords. So just make the guitar shorter by using a capo. That's all it does. Find out what works for you. Where does it feel better? It might be the 4th fret. I quite like the 4th fret myself to play the key of C when it stays in tune. Yes. Now that's the only trouble with it, with the capo on the electric. It can be a little bit eager at pushing those strings in. But look, so I can happily here play the chords in the key of C major. Now, that brings me on to another topic. Let me run through this. Yeah. And what we're going to find is the first bunch of songs you're going to learn are going to be mostly in the key of C and in the key of G. That ties into another lesson in the book, the 10 chords book. Yes, so 10 chords lesson. And those are the 10 chords that you need to learn. And this is why. Yeah, because in the key of C, we've got C is chord 1, D minor is chord 2, E minor is chord 3, then we get F as chord 4, G as chord 5, A minor as chord 6. Now, 6 out of those chords, I'm not going to do the wobbly bob chord. I'm not doing, no, that didn't sit in here again. So I'll do the wobbly bob because my brain was saying, come on, let's do it. So look, so we've got, so there, we've played 6 chords. 5 of them were open cowboy chords, and only 1 of them was a bar chord. And I think that's super, super cool, because it means that you can tap into songs, because remember, most songs use 3 or 4 chords, and those 3 or 4 chords are going to be from the same key. Yeah, it really is that simple. So you'll probably find that it'll probably be something like C, F, G, A minor. You know, those sort of chord progressions. Now, there is another key that we can use, and this is another guitar friendly key, and that's the key of G. So look at this. We've got a G chord. We've got an A minor chord, which is chord 2. Yes, we've got a B minor chord, which is chord 3. Now, if you look, that's a bar chord, okay? Chord 4 is C, cowboy chord. Chord 5 is D, cowboy chord. Chord 6 is E minor, and that's a cowboy chord as well. So, yet again, we have another key that needs a bar chord. Yeah, so you can't get away with it. Now, you can cheat with those, and I have done lessons on those cheats. But what we're focusing on today is getting these bar chords down. So I would suggest, playing those chords from those keys: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. Yes, Phil says taller frets help. Yeah, jumbo steelies. Those help as well. Okay, so back to C there. So C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. Okay, so we'll call it B diminished. It's a B half diminished if we're going to be technical about it. But then G major, G, A minor, B minor, bar chord, C, D, E minor, F sharp, minor 7 flat 5 as well. So the thing is, right, we've got these 2 chords, these 2 here, right? Now, this is, I tell you what I'm going to do, guys. This is a little cheat. This is a golden nugget. Are you ready? Who's ready for a golden nugget? If you're ready for a golden nugget, type nugget in the chat while I have a sup. If you're ready for a nugget, because actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the secret to using a capo. Yeah, because remember, the bar for a bar chord is a capo. That's what we're doing here as well. So, okay, yeah, let's have it. Nugget. Let's have nugget in the chat here, guys. Yes. And I'll show you how this works. Right, we've got nugget. All the nuggets are coming in. Right, nugs. Gold. So fretboard gold. Right, okay. So here's what we've got. I want you to listen to this, right? So far I've shown you the 2 keys. And the reason that these are the 2 most important keys is because, right, you can play in every key using just those 2 keys and a capo. This is the nugget, yeah? Here's how it works. If I play the C chords, yeah, so if I go through those and I'm looking at this, I go C, D minor, E minor, F, bar chord, G, A minor, B diminished. Okay, great. Now what happens is when I transpose using this capo, when I shift the capo up, now I've changed the key. If I play exactly the same shapes, the pitch has changed. But how do you know which key you're in? So look, there's C shape, D minor, E minor, F, bar chord, G, A minor, B diminished, C. Those aren't the chords though, guys, because what we've done is we've changed the pitch. And how we find the pitch is from the first chord that we played, the tonic, the C major chord. If we look at that and we target this 3rd finger here, okay? That finger there, whatever that note is, that is your key, okay? That's your tonic. And the way I'd look at this is, I'm not going to look at it as the key of C sharp because that's got 7 sharps. We don't want to be getting into that territory. What we want to do is we want to take it down. We're going to go think D flat. So this is the key of D flat. Okay? And by moving this shape up, I've moved it up here now, and I'm just moving it up 1 fret here. We get C. Okay. Okay, there's the C shape, D minor, E minor, F, bar chord, G, A minor, B diminished. Again, the shapes haven't changed, but the tonality, the key has. And now I'm playing in the key of D. Now this is super useful if there are two guitarists. If one guitarist is playing an open D shape like this down here, and you want to play something a little bit different so that you're not trampling on each other's toes harmonically, then what you want to do is you just get your capo on and move your capo to a key that works for those. So without taking this off, what I could do is if I move up here, then that puts me in the new key of E flat. If I move it here, puts me in the key of E. Let me just move that up here. So this is the key of E major. But the shapes are still the same. Look, guys. C, D minor, E minor, F, bar chord, G, A minor, B diminished, shapes. We're thinking of them from their origin of being from the key of C, but the reality is the notes are changing because we're changing the frets. Does this make sense? Okay, so we put that there and then back there. So that is the key of E. Now, there are limitations on this key. As I come up here, you'll find that that's great for 6th fret, and I kind of get to round about the 7th fret, and I think you've kind of exhausted the cowboy chords. So if we look here, now I'm in the key of G here, guys. Look, because this is a G note here. If I get my C shape here and I put this 3rd finger on there, look. Okay, really these are bar chords because the bar is the same as the capo. So there, C, D minor, E minor, F, bar chord, G, A minor, B diminished, but that is all in the key of G. Now, the cool thing is how many keys are there? Yes, the key, somebody says key of F. Shauna says key of F. Well, look, what I do is I look up my A string and I think to myself, my shape's from the key of C major. Okay, so I go C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F. So you said F. So I'd put that there, put my bar chord on, just look where I'm going, then put my capo on the relevant fret. So I think to myself, okay, now that's great. Now, the thing of it is that's given us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'd say probably 7 keys. Yeah, 8 keys we could look at it as, yeah, with the capo on there, but some crossover. But what we want to do is, I told you there were 2 keys, yeah, so this is a long golden nugget, right? We had the key of G, didn't we? Yeah, so if we take the key of G, then we look at the chords that we had in key of G. This is chord 1 is G, chord 2 is A minor, chord 3 is B minor bar chord, chord 4 is C shape, is a C shape there, C, chord 5 is D, okay, then we have chord 6 which is E minor, and then we get F sharp minor 7 flat 5 as that chord 7. So what we've got is we've got 7 keys that we can use using the key of C shaped chords, but then we've also got this new start here, and we're going to use the G key shapes. Yes, hopefully that makes sense. So when I put this capo on now, yeah, I'm putting this on. I'm going to have to release that off a bit there. All right, when I put the capo on now, yeah, this, change it. I'm going to use my chords from a key of G now. This is chord 1, but the sound that I'm hitting here is out of tune. This one here is well, you would think maybe it's G sharp, but it isn't. It's actually A flat, the key of A flat. So we've got the key of A flat there. We would play chord 1, okay, chord 2, chord 3, which is the B minor shape bar chord. Yeah, so we've got a C shape, we've got a D shape, an E shape, and then we've got this minor 7 flat 5. We're using exactly the same 7 shapes that we played when we played open G. And now what we do is by moving that up, we can change key. So here, this is the key of A. I've capoed at the 2nd fret there. Yeah, so now I've got my G chord there. That's chord 1, chord 2, Yeah, so we've got chord 2, chord 3, B minor shape there. Okay, so we've got B minor there. And this is our handy transposition tool, yeah? Chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, chord 7. Right, okay, back to chord 1 here. But let me just move it up. If I move it up there, then that's going to be my root note. My tonic is going to be on the E string from my G shape. I would track my G shape going up. So that is going to be a key of G. Look, can you see the G shape? This is going to be a key of A flat. If I move it to the 5th fret, that's going to be the key of A. Put it here, that's B flat. Put it on the 7th fret, that's going to be for the key of B. Move it to the 8th fret there, that's going to be for the key of C. Now, I've already played the key of C down here. So look, if I play that here, if I put this on here, and this is the secret, guys. If you do any recording, yeah, and you want some depth and breadth in your chord voicings. It sounds awful because the capo's done something to the strings there. Chord 1, chord 2, yes. Chord 3, B minor bar chord, yes. Chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, chord 7 again. Okay, so this is all basically. Hang on, no, I'm in the key. Oh yeah, I am. I'm in the key of G. G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp, G. Yeah. So this is all in the key of C. So if you could put a capo on and played the G chord, the G key chords, yes, then somebody's playing down here, playing the C chords, they're gonna match, guys. They're gonna match. So I'm showing you there aren't 24 keys. There's not 24 keys. So what I did was, look, so here's what we're going to do. We look at the C here. C, D flat, D. Yeah, so that's 3 keys so far. E flat, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, there's all these different. You can go further up and explore them, you know, but when it starts to get up here, the capo doesn't want to fit. Your fingering gets really tight. It's really hard to hold the chords down. In fact, you might find it harder to hold chords when you're in the dusty end of the neck than it is down here where the frets are actually wider. You kind of think to yourself there is a disadvantage to playing with the wider frets, but sometimes you move higher up the neck and try to get your shapes, and it's trickier because you just got to pack everything into a small space, especially if you've got stumpy sausages. Yes? So look, so we've got G here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I went to there, 7, and I can take it to D here. So really, I'm just thinking from the 3rd fret to the 10th fret, those are keys that I can have from using the G shaped, the chords from the key of G. Then if I move it over to the A string, then I could use the C key shapes here, and I get 1, 2. So look, let's add them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so I know the sounds 16 there, but some of them are repeated. Yes, so we're going to get repeated keys. Like I said, this is going to be the key of D. If I play that there, that's the key of D. So it will give you multiple ways to play in all 12 keys. Yes, there are 12 keys. Practical guitar, not hypothetical key. Yes, it's not hypothetical at all. But the beautiful thing is, the reason this is important, and I think probably, and I know this, and I know this for a fact because, yeah, although my singing has been shocking lately because I haven't been singing as much as I used to. But the thing that I do know is that if I capo at the 2nd fret and play songs, yeah, there, I can transpose that idea there. Now I know in the key of D that my vocal, yeah, I have something called a passaggio, which is like where your voice flips, you know, like the yodel bit. So I have a yodel in the key of D that happens, and sometimes I don't want it. So what I can do is I can just move up one whole step to the key of E. And now what I've done is I've transposed to a key that suits my voice. Yeah, this is what the capo is really all about, guys. It's really, and bar chords for that matter. Now, let me just kind of offer that idea up here. Now, I could play there any key, yeah? And let's look at A flat. Let's look at the key of A flat. Now, I did that using the capo here. Hopefully this guitar's still in tune. I did that here using the G shapes, the key of G shapes here. All right, so what I can do, yeah, it's out of tune. There you go. There are my chords, my cowboy chords and one bar chord. But what I can also do is I can get rid of this, and this is back to where we started, okay? This is back to where we started. Now, if I look at that A flat, now what I can do, I can play them all as bar chords, because none of those chords there, am I right in thinking? Maybe one of them. No, actually. So A flat, there's no open chord version of that. There's no cowboy chord of that. Right? E flat, there's no cowboy chord version of that. The F, it's a bar chord just further down, okay? Then what happens is we get this G minor. Okay? It's a bar chord. There is a funky shape for that as well. D minor, we've got one chord that is not a bar chord if we want it. So we can look at this, and Rich has just said it there. L7, the power of the L7 grid. Yes, this is what goes on. Is it called a facet in English where your voice is going higher than your falsetto? Higher than your normal voice. The falsetto is the singing voice. Yeah, so who's let's have a look. Let's just answer some questions here. So there was something about major and minor keys. The thing is, major and minor are basically they're two sides of the same coin, yeah? They're a little bit trickier to untangle when you look at them from the perspective of being open chords, because they're all clustered in the same place. The beautiful thing about the L7 grid and the 7/7 grid is they separate those shapes and put them in their own spot. It shows you where they live on the fretboard, okay? And that's the thing, it's knowing where things live on the fretboard and where your fingers are going to go, because that way you are planning your chord journey. Yeah, when you're playing your chords, you've got to know where you're going. So the thing is, it makes sense to understand the territory that you are playing on. Like I say, this C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished. That's all in the same ballpark. It's in the first 3 frets, but I don't have to play it like that. I just don't. So the thing is, it's like I can play those chords in a few different places. Okay, so okay, then it is in Dutch a falsetto. Right, Ron, light bulb moment. That's what we like, light bulb moments. It looks like you played the A flat chord on the 6th fret. Wouldn't that be an A sharp? Yes, I did actually. You're right. You are absolutely right there. I was playing in B flat instead. But does when you think when you think to yourself, oh, look at this song. This is the thinking. This is the problem. Yeah, you listen to a song on the radio and you go, do you know what? I've always loved this song. I have this song for me reminds me of being a kid, and being young, reckless, wild and free, all that stuff, okay? And then you go, I want to learn it. And then you go and learn it, and then you look at the key signature and the chords, and it goes, oh, it's in the key of B flat, or it's in the key of A flat. This is your way around it, guys. You use the capo, you use bar chords. Yeah, so you use what I did with the capo there. I just showed you how to shift the keys, because this is the thing. The guitar is a transposable instrument. Everything is transposable. The patterns, there are only so many patterns. as you find, this is why I try and keep things simple with showing you the patterns. Yeah, there are only so many patterns that you need to learn to unlock the keys. And then once you understand one key, then you look at another key, you'll start to see the similarities. Yeah, so this is what you've got to do. And then you're not hitting that wall where you go, this song is in A flat, I can't play it. And then you get that disappointed feeling that, you know, you've failed somehow, and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough to play that. And then that puts the doubt in your mind that you're getting anywhere, and you start to doubt your progress, and you undermine your own practice routine. And then next thing you know, it's 3 days since you practiced, and then it's another 4 days since you practiced half-heartedly. And then next thing you know, the guitar's gathering dust in the corner and your dream has died. I'm sorry to be as dramatic as that, but that's exactly what happens, guys. So this is the way I think about it, is like, how do we keep the dream alive of playing guitar? And the thing is like, it's understanding where the keys are. If I was dropping in on a jam session with some buddies or whatever, and they were playing something, yeah, my first thing would be, what key are we in? That would be my first question. Yeah, it's like I'd ask that question, what key are we in? Yeah, and if they didn't know, I'd find out. There are ways to find the key quickly. Yeah, but the thing, that's what I would do, is I would find out what key it is, and then once I understand what key I'm in, then all the shapes, yeah, that they fall in place. They fall in place beautifully. Yeah, it's you have framework and framework and framework all superimposing over the top of each other, and you know where everything is, and you know how to jump from one idea to another idea. Okay, but the whole thing about being able to change key, like I say, is the tessitura. Yeah, the comfortable range for the singer. The comfortable range is generally going to be around where your speaking voice is. Yeah, so if you find that when you're trying to sing, you know, everything is up here and you're trying to sing here, that's probably not the best place to do it. Yeah, do it where your voice is, where you talk. You know, if you spend all day talking in your job or something like that, you talk a lot, you'll notice that you won't get fatigued. And if you sing near where your speaking voice is, then you will not feel as much fatigue. That's the way it works, okay? So, hopefully that makes sense. That was the nugget. That was the tangent that I didn't know I was going to go off on. But there you go, guys. That's how you use a capo. Yes, it is a transposition tool. It is the ultimate cheat guide to all 12 keys. Yes, and the majors and the minors are all locked up in it as well. Yeah. The only problem I would say with this is when you put it on, your dots don't move with it. Yeah, so the thing is, you've got to revisualize where your dots are, which can be tricky. You know, so when you think about it, what key you're in as well, you might think, all right, okay, oh no, I usually play an E minor up here, and then you put it on, and then you go, oh no, I'm lost. You've got to be careful of that because the dots don't move as well. But hopefully that makes sense. Right. Whew. We're going to talk. We're going to talk as well about, before I actually. Oh, what's going on here? Chair's stuck. Before I get into this, what I want to do is I probably want to draw a little Lady Dianagram of your hand. Yes, I'm gonna just switch over to here, because what I want you to understand is how your hand works isn't the way that my hand works. It isn't the way that Jimi Hendrix's hand works. Everybody's hands are different. There is no cookie cutter way to come at this, but what I want to do is I want to show you how I came to understand the thing that I'm going to show you. This is the whole reason I've got to sell this idea to you guys, because you've got to believe it, because if you don't, then you'll keep on trying to play your bar chords by putting your index finger on first, which is what most people teach. But I strongly disagree with everybody who does it that way, because I think that it slows you down, because you're not working in balance with how the machine of the hand works. And this is what the Grey's Anatomy book the drawings told me, showed me, and I realized that this was what was going on. So I'm going to draw a picture of a hand. Okay, I'm just going to draw that there right now. Don't laugh, might work, might not. So we're going to draw a fretting hand, and this is going to be my hand. Let's hope it doesn't go awfully wrong. And there's the thumb. Okay, and you might have seen me draw this before. So this is your hand, okay? There's your nails, fingernails there, all chewed and bitten down because you keep them short for practicing. Yeah, so there's your fingernails. But what I want to tell you about, yeah, is that we have these tendons, that come up each of the fingers. So I want you to understand the machine. Your tendons in your fingers. Look at this. So we have a tendon that runs along each of the fingers. Okay, we have tendons that do that over there. So these tendons are called your flexor your extensor. Yeah, so these are your extensors. On the other side, these are your flexors, and they're kind of, I think of them as like strings, you know, when you tighten a string up. So the thing is, you've got a balance in the hand where you pull in that way and you pull in that way. But what happens is we have these funky things, yes, that we are calling junctura tendinum, yeah. And what it is like they are made of the same stuff as the tendons, and they cross over here, and they cause that sense of rigidness in your stretch here. There is another thing as well that does that, and that is called, you have something called, you got in here where your fingers terminate here, you've got something called sagittal bands, and what their job is to keep your knuckles where they should be. Okay, so the thing is, you've got two things that are working against you getting a wide hand and making your hands move in this movement here. If I put my fingers here like this, it's okay, they're straight. But when I move a finger down there is tension in the sagittal band here. And also when I stretch wide, there is tension here in the junctura tendinum. Yeah, right? So these are the tendons that join the extensors, and they allow or restrict your range of movement. And this is the machine that we are working with, guys. So we've got to factor it all in there. So these can be tight. So these here, the sagittal bands are easy enough to stretch out. These, you can kind of stretch them, and you can kind of stretch your normal tendons as well. And there's a whole bunch of exercises, and that's probably something for another lesson. But what I want you to understand is like, if your fingers are struggling to move to where you want them to be, then what's going to happen is you're going to find that that this is what's going on. You feel this. It's almost subconscious that when you put your hand on and you try to make a bar chord in the traditional manner, here's what happens, and I'll explain it. I'll explain, and I'll zoom in on this as well. The traditional technique, and I'll play a G chord here, it requires that what you do is you go from this position here, you put a bar on first, and then what you do is you work against that sagittal band there in between the index finger and the second finger, but also you've got some stretching going out here, and to put that second finger on and then put your third and fourth finger on, and that feels completely awful. Yes, it feels really difficult. Now here's how you bypass it, and it's perfect, because what we're going to do is we're going to play an E shape, guys, because this is the most common bar chord you're going to come across. This is the one that you want for your F. You can use it for a B as well. So there's your E-shaped chord. Now let me just show you the shape, and I'm going to transpose it up the neck like I did with my bar chord. I'm just going to switch my fingers around. Yeah, and now I'm going to take that whole E shape and I'm going to move it up to the 4th and the 5th fret there. And then what I do is, look, what did I do there? I put the bar on last. The bar can actually go further than you think once that is more movable. This finger, once this is on, this is what I call the scout. So really, you can see that what happens is that first finger, that becomes your capo or your new head nut, yeah, and I retain my E major shape there, okay? But the thing is, like I say, look at this, the movement that I can get with this first finger. Look at that. I can keep my E shape on there, okay? Move that around. I could do circles with it one way, circles with it another way. And I could even try and hold 1 fret lower. You'll probably find that this will work 1 fret lower than what a bar chord should be. Because what you'd normally do is you would put your bar on first, like I say, and then try and get this finger to do what you want it to do. But you're feeling that tension in between that sagittal bands there, right? And those ligaments, sorry, those tendons. And then trying to put that on there. But what's bizarre about it is the easier way to do it is to tackle it with your middle finger. And I think that this makes sense, because if you look at the hand, yeah, the reason it's called your middle finger is it's because it's in the middle of your hand. It's where the balance comes from. Okay, I know that thumb looks a bit weird there, but there you go. So it's a gardener's thumb, is that? So what we do is we looking at this, and the shapes that we're going to find is we're going to use the middle finger here as a scout. Yeah, so this is how we're going to do this, guys. And I want you to, if you struggle with this, have a go. Just play along with it. Yeah, Scott I just did cowboy chords, but right. So what we do is don't put the bar on first. We visualize the shape. We know what the shape is going to be. Yeah, and then what we do is we put it on in a different order. And the 3-step process, guys. The 3-step process. We put the middle scout on first. So scout, and then the rest of the shape. So you can see what I've done is I've put the rest of the shape on here. Now the curious thing is these 2 fingers here, they want to work together anyhow, because it's easier when you put 2 fingers together. You get what I call a 2-finger group. Yeah, that's called a 2-finger group. Okay, and you get them between each of your digits. You get 3 2-finger groups there, and they find it easier, instead of spreading, just to pull together. So if you can do that, yeah, and then you can do that, you can split them. So you do that, do that, do that. You know, these little exercises. So we've got Spock, live long and prosper. You know, that little hand exercise is pretty good. And just switching between those 2 there, you know, just to get some independence, just to strengthen those muscles up, you can do that. Okay. All right, so that's what that's what you do. You just put those together. And then that means when it comes to putting the shape on, scout is easy because it's just 1 finger. Okay. Now, Sean, maybe look at the angle. If you're trying to put it on this, look at the angle, and this is where the thumb comes into it. If the thumb is too high, yeah, then what's going to happen is you're going to have the palm of your hand clasping the back of the neck there, and you don't want that. What you need is plenty of space. So make sure that the thumb is pointing up at 12 o'clock-ish there. Okay, or you can put it to about 11 if you want, but what I'd say is just have that thumb there, nice easy grip, and it's just like, it shouldn't feel any different than, you know, like if you know when you, Sean, you know when you're doing your yoga and you sat there in the you're doing that position, you're holding your fingers like that, right? Creating that energy. Yeah, right. So what we do is that's all it is. So if we get that there with the scout and the thumb, so it should feel very much similar to that. And then what we do is we put these 2 fingers on as 1 finger, and that's what I mean by a 2-finger group. So we put in that scout on, and we put that 2-finger group on to complete the shape. So once we've got the shape on, then what we do is we put the bar all the way across there. Now, the bar itself, if we look at it, we can think about it from this perspective. If I know that I'm going to do some sort of vamping idea, yeah, then chances are I can practice taking that chord off and putting it on, but I wouldn't recommend it at first while you're learning it. So middle, scout, shape, bar, yeah. But so the thing is, when I'm playing this here, I'm really focusing on putting pressure on this string here, this string here, and this string here, because those are the only strings in my bar that are actually sounding, yeah. Those ones there. Yeah, and if I was doing the Jimi Hendrix thing, I would put the thumb over the top, you see, and that's how he did it, instead of barring across there. He probably did bar as well. So like that. So we've got that shape there. So scout, shape, bar. Put the bar on last. Now, another exercise that you can do with this, yes? Another exercise that you can do with it. If you want to just try strengthening the bar, then like I did earlier on when I was saying to you about the pressure of how hard it is to hit the strings, you can put a bar on high. And I want you to notice how you shift, the bar shifts along from the flat part of the finger, and as you move further down the neck, it moves to the outside of the finger here. And if you could see my finger there, it's quite rough and tough. There's calluses on this side here, okay, there. So got that one there. So look, flat, and I'm just ringing all 6 strings out. But as I move down, what I can do is I can practice getting a sound out of each of the 6 strings that are available to me there in that bar. You know, and if you play them randomly, it sounds like you're doing jazz. You know? Yeah, because they are kind of like a minor 11 chord. So you just play those there. Get used to that. Developing the strength that is needed to form this movement here. Now, you can strengthen that by doing the duck exercise. It's a hand exercise that you can do. This is there's some remedial exercises that you can do. You can stretch it out and just practice doing that there. I know that looks silly, but that's just all about pressing and targeting those two together. Those are opposing forces to each other. So wherever I want to play this E shape now, okay, I'm just moving. I'm scouting, shape, bar. Okay. Okay, we've got it. Leonard, oh yeah, he did play the guitar, did Leonard Nimoy. If middle finger is not used, do you just use the ring finger, etc.? Good question, Ray. Right, okay. Which brings me to really what we're looking at here is, and I'll talk you through this, okay? When we play an E-shaped bar chord that uses all 6 strings, you might have heard it as being a sixth string bar chord, yeah, or a 5-string bar chord. A 6-string bar chord is generally an E shape, yeah. So we've got that there, and we've got 3 fingers on. We've got the 5th, the root, and the 3rd. And this is why I show you this stuff, guys, because if I lower that 3rd, yeah, I get the note behind the head note, which means I don't have to play it. I get an E minor, okay? I'm very out of tune. Right, okay, so that'll do for now. Yeah, close enough for rock and roll. Now what we're going to do is, instead of using the index to scout, what we do is we use a 2-finger group to scout. So let's look at this. Say, imagine I know I'm going to go and play an A minor. I know that my root note for my chord, my A minor, is going to be here, 5th fret on the E string there. So what I do is, I know it's an E minor shape, so what I scout with the shape. So there, what I do is I put the 2 fingers on at the same time. Yeah, if you can get used to putting the 2 fingers out on at the same time, what that means is you're reducing steps in the process. And every step you take out of the process, then that means you then become more efficient at shifting and playing between chords and therefore quicker. Okay, so look, we put those 2 fingers on there, then reach for the bar. Okay, that's what everybody's been waiting for me to say, that reach for the bar. Okay, so and that's how you get your minor chord. Yeah, so if I was going to play the major, scout, shape, bar, but if it's the minor, E shape, then I would play the E minor shape, and then I would play the bar across there. Now what you can do is you can get a little bit of support here from your middle finger if your bar feels a little bit isolated and you don't know what you're doing with this finger, because I have had students who try and tuck this finger behind here and like have it out here to hang a coat off. What I do is I just say, put it next to your index finger like a Kit Kat. Yeah, you know, like a 2-finger Kit Kat. Yeah, just put that on there, right, and let it help push that bar down if you struggle. Now, let me just show you something else. There is another thing that you can do with this, and I kind of think of this as being like a, you know how bottle cap works, and what we do is, and I'll probably do a crap drawing of it. It's probably a good idea. I'll do an awful drawing of it, right? So this is the top of a beer bottle, and then we've got a cap on the top of it. All right, but we want the juicy beer that's inside, because we like it, because we like beer. Okay, now the thing is, the way that the bottle opener works is you put force at this point here, right? Usually a force there, and then you have another force that's underneath there like this, underneath the lip of the cap. So there's pressure going this way, and then there's pressure going out this way. Okay, so this is the bottle cap. This is what I think of as being the bottle cap method. All right, so what we can do then with that idea is we can do the same thing here when we come to our bar chords. And the way we do this is we can pull on the guitar. Now what you can do is with your this arm here, you can push into the body of the guitar like this, and if you notice what that does is it pushes the neck forward, and that puts more pressure onto the bar. Yeah, so one force moves that way and it's got to go the other way, and that's what's going on there. But what you can do is you can make that even less, and I wonder if I can do that even less and just show you it works on a smaller scale as well. Is that right? Right, so what I can do is I can just localize that by pulling back here. If I keep that note there, it doesn't take much to hold down the E string at all. Yeah, it's often very hard, much harder to get these notes to ring clear because they drop into the creases in your fingers. Okay, so what you do, and then you pull it towards you. So I'm pulling this all the way towards myself. If I do that, and I incorporate it with pulling down on the guitar body as well, what you'll see is that actually, yeah, I don't even need the thumb. You need the thumb, but let me just show you that I can play the chord without a thumb, without that opposing force. So the thing is, that's what you do there. Yeah? And about 8 likes. Yeah, so what we've got is we've got that going on there. Look, so I can put that out there. Now, you don't want to be doing that. This is a big no-no, and I often cringe if I see guitarists with the thumb under here, you know. Maybe sometimes if it's a vibrato on a single note, yeah, maybe, but not in this instance, yeah. Is it possibly to do a wobbly bob with a bar? No. Wobbly bob is a specific bunch of shapes, and luckily, you know, for us, that they're easily accessible with just 4 fingers. Yeah, there is a bar chord diminished 7th chord, which has got a little mini bar on it. Yeah, which is this one here. You don't necessarily have to play that as a bar, and some people don't. Some people like to play it with all 4 fingers, but I like to play it with a bar. But that's just a little bar, like playing an A shape, really. That's the one. But Hopefully this makes sense, okay? So hopefully this makes sense here. We've got these shapes here. Now, right, what we've done, like I say, is we're looking at two shapes out of the cage system. Yeah, the ones that you need to learn first, because this is, like I say, this is for beginners. Yeah, there's a lot to get into. You appreciate the alternative scout finger answer. It's different. You know, it's a different way to look at it. And it makes so much more sense later on down the line. I'm just trying to remember some shape. If you can do this here, look at this. I love this. This is an A major chord. Yeah. And then what I could do is I could put a major 7 in. There's the 5th root, 3rd, 5th, and then I could put a sharp 11 in. Yeah, and I get this Lydian sounding chord here. Yeah, and I like to think that, and can I stretch down? But I want to show you how that index finger, by limiting it to just what it can do on a bar, is actually going to scupper you for other chords later on down the line. Okay, does this make sense? Yeah, so we've got E shape, we've got the E minor shape. Okay, now the other shape that we want is the A major shape. I'm playing it like this basically so that you can see it easier than, I mean, you can see it like this. Now even look at that, look at the traditional grip there, right? Or if I do it like this with these fingers, the traditional A grip, the index finger is in the buzziest spot you're going to find, and the hardest spot to press it down as well, which is why I switcheroo the fingers around so that they're all in the sweet spot there like this. So that's in the middle. We've got those two in the sweet spots there. But you can also play it like this. But when I play it like that, look at that bar. Can you see the angle? Look at that angle where it is there like that. Now, if I play the original A shape, look at how that angle has shifted. It's just flipped, hasn't it? It's flipped the other way. So what we can do is we can use that. Look at that there. We don't want to try and do it straight up like that, because what will happen is you will force your wrist up, and then you will end up with this sort of shaped hand. Let me have a look. Can I do this? Because what you want is you want your forearm and the back of your hand to be as straight as possible. Okay, so that gives you some inherent strength. It's okay to have some bend and flex in it when you're switching between chords, and when you're looking, it's much better to have it curved, slightly curved as well when you're playing your bar chords as well. But there, A chord, playing the A chord like that, or like that. So that is the shape that we want to use as a bar chord, and just like the E minor shape that we used up here, we put on the two fingers of that E minor shape as a scout, and then we barred. If we want to do the same thing with an A shape, then let's tackle a B chord. Yeah, we can do the same thing here. Now, we've got a couple of options. Now, some people play it like this. They put fingers 2, 3, and 4 on, and then put a bar on. I'm not going to argue with that, but I would say put all 3 fingers on at the same time. Yes, so make that a 3-finger group. Those tendons are happy to be working together, and then really demonstrates how much this first finger is a real sort of stretchy probing finger. Yeah. So I can play that B chord there like that, but that isn't the only way to play the B chord. What I can also do is I can play the B chord using one finger. So I'm going to play it using my 3rd finger here, and I'm holding down the G, B, and the D, G, and B strings there. But what I want you to notice is, hang on, can I get zoom in on that? Yeah, let's zoom in on that there. Yeah, look at can you see how the blood is all in the tip of the finger there, and then you can see it goes slightly washed out there because of the angle that I'm squeezing it at. Let me see, can I do that? Where is it? There it is. Is that it? So why is that not doing it there? Oh, hang on, it's there. That's why. Right. So it's all about this angle here of how much indent you can create here. Let me just move that over there on the backdrop. Right. So look at that. Look at how much this distal phalanx. That's the name of it here. The distal phalanx there. how far that bends back. You want that. Now, some of you guys I know probably got a good old bit of bend on that. Some of you have got none. Yeah, so you're going to have to find where it works. But if it doesn't work on the ring finger, then it might work on the pinky. And the pinky might have just enough footprint to take up the A shape, yeah? So you get the A shape in that portion of the finger, the distal phalanx. Yeah, because you've got 3 sections to the finger. Yeah, but it's the distal bit because that's the furthest from your heart. Yeah, so these are all the distal phalanx. So on that ring finger, push that back, and you hopefully you see how the color of that has changed. Yeah, the color of it has changed there. So look, so what I can do is if I can hold that on here, I'm holding on the A shape with just my 3rd finger, right, and then I bar across. All I'm holding, really focusing on holding down, is this note here on the 2nd fret, and then this note here on the thin E string. So I don't have to put much pressure on the bar. I'm actually more interested in letting the tip of that index finger, hang on, will that focus? The tip of my index finger, it's not going to focus. Yeah, just mute out the E string. Okay? I want my pinky free in case I need to do a sus4. Yeah? It's out of tune big time as this guitar now, but you just have to live with me. Now another way to do it is I saw Brian May do it, and he does it on his power chords, but then I realised he does it on his B chords as well, and he uses his pinky to hold down the A shape. So you can, if you struggle with the 3rd finger, try the pinky. If you struggle with putting 3 fingers on, that's tight, and you struggle with that might work for you. But this is also an option, and this is also an option. But you'll notice, you see how when I use the pinky, I have a lot more stretch and distance I can move my index finger. It's a bit more mobile. Yeah, so it's a bit more mobile, is that finger, especially if you wanted to create any sort of bass lines in there as well. Now, that takes care of the A shape. So we've got the A shape. Remember, the A shape goes 5th through 3rd. Major 3rd here. We take it down to the flat 3rd just here. Okay, that makes the chord minor. Okay, now because this shape, what we can do is this shape, if we look at the fingering of that chord there, the A minor, if we move it up a string, it becomes the E shape. Look. So look at that. There's the Sean, don't worry about the high E too much, because do you know something? That's only a 5th. Yeah, that's a 5th, so it's just transparent. It doesn't add any extra to the chord. It's not going to affect the tonality. Right? So look at that. Okay, and what will happen is just keep playing at it, and it'll get stronger, and then one day it'll be like, oh, hang on, my E's in there. And it just happens. Okay, so we've got A minor. Let's move this up 1 fret. Yeah, 1 string, yeah. So look at that there, up 1 string. Okay, so that's exactly the same shape. So because this is exactly the same shape as the E shape, when it comes to doing it as a bar chord, and remember, when we played the key of G, we had G, A minor, and chord 3 was B minor. Look, what I do is a scout with that middle finger, put the shape on, put the bar on. So scout, shape, bar. There. Now the cool thing is you'll notice this, that when you play chords, you will automatically scout with those fingers. So look at there's my G chord. It gives you your dance moves. Does anybody remember those dance in the back of magazines? Used to get those learn how to foxtrot and cha-cha-cha. Yeah, dance mats, and they had the numbers on, and it's like you just followed them. Yeah, and this is the way I think of shifting chords, and that's what we want to do. So we want to go, okay, so then that foot finger goes there, and then that finger goes there. You see? Yeah. Wrong wrong one. So we've got that there. And we can pivot. And then what we can do is we can just practice going between those two chords. It's just too bad for me. I cannot bear it anymore. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tune up just a little bit. This B's a bit sharp. G's a bit flat. The D's a bit flat. A's flat. And the E is also a little bit flat. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So look. So there's the B minor. Oh, it sounds loads better. So we've got that there. Winston says, did I roll my index finger when you do the bar? I'll show you again in slow motion, Winston. So look, I put my my scout, shape, and then bar. All I did was basically, I'm doing it in slow motion to show you where I'm putting the bar on. Notice that I'm not fretting that note on the E string. I'm just touching the string. I'm fouling the string with the tip of my index finger there. Yeah, just to get that shape. Now, and also something worth noting as well is the shape of the fingers should all be arched. Yeah, because if you think about it, the strongest shape in architecture, yeah, is the arch. So look at the shape of the arch there. If you find that your fingers are flat, if you're trying to put the chord on and your fingers are all flat, yeah, that's not gonna work for you. All your fingers have to be nice and arched. Yes, nice and arched there like that. So to practice it, get your middle finger on. Make sure there's an arch. Put the shape on. Look, 2-finger group here. Make sure that's an arch, and then that first finger on there, and that's a loose arch there as well. You can see. But what I'm doing is I'm using this part of the thumb here. I'm not trying to use the flat part. If you try and use the flat part of the bar index finger there, yeah, you're gonna end up pushing your let me just zoom out. You're gonna end up shoving your shoulder out here, and it's just gonna look awkward. Yeah, so you need to be nice and relaxed here. Your arm just hanging down, nice and relaxed. But if you try and straighten that first finger out, it's going to go wrong. So you need to be on the arch there. In fact, let me zoom in again. If I take the shape off, you can see that the bar, yeah, it's kind of hanging over the fret wire a little bit there. It's because the contact is being all made here, and it's not in a straight line. It's kind of on an arc like this. Yeah, so it's on an arc. Can you see? Yeah. Now, some people have really long fingers. I've had students who've had to play chords with a hanging index finger that goes over the top. I'm fine with that as long as you remember not to play the E string if you're doing a B minor chord. Yeah. Yeah. Thumb in the middle of the back down. Yeah, well that's the thing, you know, you've got to find your way around it. Now obviously I was playing that down in this position here, and like I said to you earlier on, if it's tricky, then look, play it in a position, put the scout on, say to yourself, right, I'm going to play a B chord there, right, there's my scout, there's my shape, there's my bar. Okay, let's do it as a minor, B minor. Play an E minor shape, and then put the bar on. Use that second finger to help you. Underneath, I'm gonna play this note here. I'm gonna play an E major. I'm only using 2 fingers to do that there. That's why I want my pinky free. Yeah. So I want that there. Because if I've got my pinky free, I can drink tea. Right, now 5th through, minor 3rd, scout, shape, bar. Put the bar on after. And then what you'll find is, this is a 3-step process. a 3-step process, scout, shape, bar. But what we really want to do is we want to get it into what I call a blended movement. And essentially, basically, what that means is that the steps in the process disappear. It isn't scout, shape, bar anymore. It just becomes one movement. And that looks like this. So look, if I'm putting an A chord on, you see a scout in there, scout, shape, bar, really quick. Yeah, and then when I moved over, even when I moved over, look, I played the A shape first, then put the bar in slightly after. Okay, yeah, scout, shape, bar. Okay, now those are cool, yeah, but what we can do is, I'm wondering if I can. Oh, hang on. How do I do this? Let me just see how I do this. Oh, yes, we've got it. We have so got this. Let me just shift over. So then, what we can do, guys, is we can look at this here. I told you I had something cool going on here. I'm wondering if I can drag. Yes, and wondering if I can drag this here. This is a long one, guys. Another long lesson. Can I drag this in here? Oh, I might be able to. Yay! There we go. Right, so what I can do is, I'm just going to put this here for now. Right next to it. Just so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to zoom. I've zoomed in there. I think I'm zoomed in as much as I possibly can on that one. No, oh, that's me. There we go. So I'm zoomed in on that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is this is the key of A major. Yeah. So I've got A major, and I'm going to follow the L7 grid, guys. This is the L7 grid major. So what we've got is we've got this tonic here, and I know that any note, that any chord shape that I'm going to play on this string, yeah, is going to be an E shape. Any chord that I play on the A string is going to be an A shape. The string tells me what shape I'm going to use. So this is chord 1, which is an E shape. This is chord 4, which is an A shape. This is chord 5, which is an A shape as well. And as you can see from those guys there, the colours that we have, yeah, we've got chord 1, which is our major chord here. That's our tonic, yeah, so that's our key. And then we've got chord 4 just here. All right, and that one is major as well. Chord 5 here. And those three there are the majors. The blue dots that you see here, those guys are the minors. So those are the minor chords that we get. Let's just look at that, what that looks like. So here I'm going to scout, shape, bar on that E shape to get chord 1. And I'm using that to find my root note. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to that Roman numeral chord 4, IV, yes? There's my root note. 5th fret on the A string. I'm going to play my A shape first and then bar, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up to the 5, yeah, where the cursor is blinking now. Play the A shape first, there, and then put that on there. When I move, look, when I move between those shapes, when I move through them, I'm just taking off my index finger and sliding the A shape to get moving between the chord 4 and chord 5. Then I put the scout on shape and the bar to get to chord 1. So so we just got that there. Now, what I do is I come up here. This is going to be an A minor shape. Yes. There we go. That's the scout, shape, bar for the finally break time for the 6th chord. Then what I do is I move over to the E minor shape there, bar for the 3 chord. Use the E minor shape to slide down to chord 2. Just there, and then I can go to 1 here. And that gives me all the chords, the major and minor chords that I need for the key of A major. So that is the whole family of those chords. Now, I've put this up here. I'll probably include this in PDF Club, but you can see over here what I've done is I've included some enharmonic spellings of that in the minor key. Yeah, and so you can see that there, guys. So that's how you would do that there. Right. Oh, I was pleased at how that went. Oh, let's get rid of that. There we go. That was it. So, bit of technology there, guys. Getting all fancy and clever with it. So, let's zoom out. Does this all make sense here, guys? Does this all make sense? Okay. You've got your chords, and hopefully this should be really. It's just about key. It's about conquering key, and because once you know what key you're in, you know you're in a comfortable range to sing. You know you know where everything's going to roll out. You know where your scales are going to be. You know where your chords. And remember, like I said, there's only 3 things you need to think about when it comes to pitch: chords, scales, arpeggios. Once you know where all those 3 are, then you are golden. You are golden, guys. That's the way it works. Right, so, it's a big one. And all you have to do then is just move the L7 grid, guys. You know how if you've been to my lessons before here, you'll know how the L7 grid moves. It transposes based on that chord 1 and just moves, and that's your key. It's all on your E string, nice and easy. And if you want to do it with the 7/7 grid, you do that. And if you caught Saturday's lesson, you will be able to then transpose it into the mixo grid, which I talked about on Saturday's live stream, and I showed you because I think it might have been Dem or was it Randy that was on about the other grids. There's a couple more grids, and I dropped the 3rd grid, the mixo grid in there. I'll do a proper lesson on that at some point, but I think once you got the grids and you know where the shapes are, what shape it is, and you know how to plan your lesson, plan your song, how you're going to journey from the beginning of a song to the end of a song, then that's what you have to get into. Yes, Sean, arpeggio lesson. Yeah, I did some arpeggios and stuff like that. I talked about sweep picking. Which is what made me post in the Fretboard Fraternity about doing a live session, but not here on YouTube. I'll do I'm going to try something out in the Fretboard Fraternity and do a live in there, and get some in there. Mixer grid. Yes, Dem says happy. Yeah, the mixer grid. Yeah. So essentially, I've kind of realised that I've let my shred chops go a little bit, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live in there, and I'm just going to warts and all show you how I tackle getting back match fit. Yeah, because that's the thing. Because it can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult to just jump straight in and get back to the speeds that it used to be. I used to be super fast, ridiculously fast, to the point of like you're playing too fast. You know, that's when I had long hair and a goatee and looked like Dimebag from Pantera, but back in the day. But because I trained my fingers to do that back then. It takes about a month to 3 months to get back into match fit sort of state, I think. I'm going to test that theory because I haven't really done much shred stuff for probably about 10 years. So it's all still there. I know it's all there, but I want to work on some new patterns. You know, so I'm going to do a live in the Fretboard Fraternity. If you're not part of the Fretboard Fraternity, look, guys, just join it. It's free. Yeah, it's free. There's no charge. Yeah, just hang out, and it's like there's no ads, there's no social media tracking or anything else like that. There's nobody retargeting you or out like that, and it's nice stuff. No politics. It's a wonderful place to be. But like I said, this is all about this one. This one was all about this lesson here in the book, guys. And if you haven't got the book, if you want to support my work on the channel, then you could buy my book, and then you can follow along with these lessons on a Wednesday. Yes, okay. So that's the thing there, right? And I'm probably about 80% through a really useful chord course. Ingo, you mentioned about chord changes. This is part of a system that I devised called Clockwork Chords. So that's all being built at the minute, and that's going to be a cool little thing. If you want to get good at changing chords, then that's what we're going to look at. And all this stuff, guys. The thing is, all this stuff, it's like I've tested it. I've tested it on people, on real live victims. You know, I've come up with ideas, and it's like, and let's try this and let's try that and see what works. And then over 36 years of teaching, I've figured out what works and what doesn't. You know, so the thing is, this is why I'm showing you everything here today. So the shreddy thing, I think that'd be really interesting. Let's see if you wanted to get in on that. And I'm actually thinking that I'm going to try it, and I might even do some hot seating. So there'll be an opportunity for you to actually jump on the video like this. There'll be two pins. There'll be you, there'll be me, and you'll be showing what your struggles are and what your challenges are, and I can dress them specifically. Okay, so the more information about that will be in the Fretboard Fraternity, and I'll probably do an email out about that as well. So make sure that you are signed up on the email list at rickysguitar.com. If you also want access to all the PDFs that I've generated for this, like I say, I've got all this stuff here, and there are other bits and bobs. What I'll do is I'll post those in PDF Club. What's PDF Club? PDF Club is this. This is PDF Club. It's the only place you can get access to my Wednesday lesson extra notes and any other gubbins that I put together. I'm going to do some more notes for this, everything that I did on the board there. And like I say, with the L7 grid and the 7/7 grid as well, I'll be banging those up as well in PDF Club. I'll do a print off of those bad boys. And then John says, sadly, not many joined on the live Saturday. We did learn a lot where Ricky came from and how we met Mrs. Ricky. Yeah, it was really, really nice. It was just really, really nice to do that, you know. So, yeah, it was just, it was cool talking about my breakdance days. Oh, there's lots. I nearly mentioned then about having medals for ballroom dancing. I have medals for ballroom dancing. Yeah, so... oh, still waters run deep, but there you go. So Richard says, when I'll announce soon, mate. It will be. I just want to make sure that when I do it, I've got some resources and everything else like that, and I've got a real plan of what I'm going to do. Because what I'm going to do, it's going to be really, really selfish. I'm going to do it for my own chops. Yeah, but I'll show you what it is my thinking. What's the whole process about it? DKP in the hizzy. Yes, indeed. DKP. Yeah. 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 So yeah, it was a fun one. Guys, I appreciate you so much for coming along tonight. I hope everything I've said has made sense. If not, the video's here on replay. Go through it again. Have a little listen. Watch along. Make sure you understand it. But the thing to remember is with bar chords, yeah, is scout-shaped bar. And look, don't miss out on coming back to that little bit of gold about using a capo. I'll probably pull that section out and post it as an individual video. And his crazy fantasy standing naked on stage. Indeed, having money thrown at me. Mm-hmm. Well, there we go. This is it. Now it's all coming out now. You can't tell anybody anything, can you? You know, it's like spill the tea, not the Yorkshire tea. Guys, thank you, like I say, for coming along. Remember what I said. I say every week about practicing, you know, doing it for yourself, nobody else. Remember who you're doing it for. Because life is bloody short and it's brutal, and we've got to find us pleasure where we can. And I can't think of anywhere better than, you know, being here with you guys playing guitar. I love it to bits. Love you guys lots. So I will bid you adieu. Practice your guitar. Watch this again if you need to. It'll always be up here for you to rewatch. And I'll see you next week. Okay, take care. Bye bye.